This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good evening, no, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our very special sunset safari here from the western fringes of the Great Kruger National Park. Here is our first animal. They are a vast herd of impala. A very special welcome to the kids of Parkway Elementary and Hooksett Memorial School in New Hampshire. Parkway is, of course, in Virginia Beach. And it's great to have you with us here. My name is James Henry, and you can ask me any questions you'd like to. All you do is ask your teacher. She or he will ask me a question, and I will then do my best to give you the correct information. We've got these lovely impala here, and after we've looked at them, we're going to go and try to find a leopard and her cub. And it will be great to see them because, of course, they are our favourites out here, the leopards. So impala, the most common antelope we get here, and this little chap here has actually done pretty well. And I say that because he's now just over a month old. And most of these chaps will not, in fact, make it through their first year. 50% of them will die in their first year. Cadence? Sorry, I was going to try and kill a fly, but I'm not anymore. You want to know what family the impala are in? They're actually in a family all on their own, or a subfamily on their own. But I suppose the larger family or larger grouping that they're in is the Antilopenae, if I'm not mistaken. And that's sort of a sub, or not quite the same family as the Bovidae, which most of the... I'm trying to explain this in simple terms. So the Bovidae is a superfamily, is a big family, and then a slightly smaller grouping would be the Antilopenae, which is what you find this one in now. So that's what the impalas are in. And I suppose if you didn't want to say... If you didn't want to say they were, or give you the Latin name, you'd say they were in the family of the antelope and buffalo. And if you wanted to make it even more simple, you could just say they're antelope. But they don't have any other close relatives here. Alrighty, we're going to leave these impala now, head down to where the leopard was seen, and see if we don't get very lucky.
Good afternoon, everybody, to this extremely hot day here in South Africa. Now, we are driving very, very slowly. I'll tell you why in just a minute. But first things first, my name is Lauren, and on camera, I have Craig. So, we are also looking for a leopard, believe it or not. There's actually many leopards around here that we know. So, James is going to be looking for a female leopard, and I am currently looking for a male leopard, and that's why we're driving so slowly. So I'm sure James mentioned already, but it is important that you ask us all the questions that you have. You can just ask your teacher anything that you would like to know, and hopefully we'll be able to answer them. So our spotted male cat is in this region, but we don't quite know where. So that is why we are driving really slowly and just scanning to see what we can find. If we can't find them, because it is so hot today, we will go to a water hole, because lots of animals like to go near water holes when it's this hot to cool down, to swim, and of course to have a drink. So that is our plan for this afternoon. But first I need to try and find this cat for you. Jacob is asking what is the temperature. Well, it is 33 degrees Celsius and 92 degrees Fahrenheit. I use Celsius in the UK, but in the States, you use Fahrenheit. So that is extremely, extremely hot. Now, I am from Scotland, which is a really cold country, so the temperature is perfect for me. I love it when it's warm. And the animals, they also find it very hot. So they have to have their own ways of cooling down. And for spotted cats like leopards, normally that is to hide in the shade. So that is why we're going to look under all the trees and see if we can find him. So wish us good luck, everybody. So while we look and hopefully we find, we are going to send you all the way up to Kenya, to the Masai Mara, to meet Isaac.
Well, hello everyone and welcome to the Masai Mara Game Reserve. My name is Isaac Rotich and on camera is Bungei. I understand it's very hot down in Juma in South Africa, where we've just been watching. It's almost 33 degrees Celsius. Over here, it is 28. It is slightly more, less hot over here. And that's why I'm out in these open plains looking for my favorite animal, which is the lion. Around here might look empty, but there is lions. This area, unlike our homes where we go and open our house and go inside and do everything, the lions have got what we call a territory, and a territory can be as big as 5 school compounds that you have. Over here, they don't have somewhere where they live every day. They roam around, and so I'm driving around looking for some lions. It might look empty, but I know along this creek, yesterday I saw some lions, and that's why I'm here. The grass is very long, and so it makes it hard for me to find them. And so sometimes I just have to drive until I'm very close. Remember to join in and ask me as many questions as possible about any animal, about the Masai Mara, about the Masai people. Mia, you ask if there are certain boundaries where certain animals can go. Yes, there are what we call territories and home ranges. A home range is like how you go out of your house and you visit your friends. There is a bigger home, which is not actually your home, but there is what is called a territory, which is your home. So they have boundaries which are small, like called territories, and then other boundaries that are outside are called home ranges, and they differ. Some animals, like the lions, they have a small territory, not very big. When I say it is small, it doesn't mean like it's small like a house. It can be as big as one of your big towns, like 3 square kilometers. I'm sure your teacher will explain that in size. It can be as big as that. So they differ. So they have territories which are small, and then home ranges. They do have their own homes where they prefer, where they get food, they get water, they get, whatever they eat. And here, I know this pride of lions that I'm looking for hang around this area. And if you're lucky, I'll be able to show you a lion before the end of this school drive. You can see some swallows flying. Chastity, yes, we have elephants, and I will show you elephants shortly. We do have elephants in the Mara, and at the moment we have very, very many. Shortly, maybe in the next 10 minutes, I'll be driving to where they are. We've just seen some, and we'll show you some elephants. Over here, there is a lion somewhere, because we have a pride that hangs around here, and that's why I'm driving around, hoping to find them. No promises though, so hold your fingers. I'm hoping to show you a nice, beautiful, big female lioness or a male lion. They sometimes come over here and go on that ridge in front of me, sit there and look down over the plains to see what they are going to go for. I know this because I was here yesterday and I saw a few of them roaming around here, and they looked very hungry. So I'm hoping today they came out here, and maybe they're hunting, or maybe they are resting in the long grass. I don't know where they are. It's just a matter of driving around and hoping to find them. This long grass can easily hide, lions quite easily, because if they lie down flat, they will disappear until I'm right on top of them. And that's why I'm driving around, hoping either to spook one or to spot one from a distance. Lions live in what we call territories, and they cannot go out of their territories. So we know, according to the size of the territory, where we come sometimes to look for these lions. And that's why I am here, because I know this is the territory of a pride of lions. They are called the Sausage Tree Pride, and they hang around here. And that's why I've come here to see if I can find them for you guys. They are somewhere here. Because they have cubs, they cannot go very far. Brooklyn, you ask why the grass is so much longer. We just had lots and lots of rain recently, and that's why the grass is this long. There was lots of rain in December, and also a few weeks back we did have lots of rain, and that's why the grass is this tall. Sometimes, you can't see them from a distance, so you have to drive around like what I'm doing right now. It's called game driving, because you're driving and you're looking for game. It can be risky sometimes, because these grasses you see here, you don't see what is under. There might be a big hole that was made. Yeah, you can have a hole that was dug by a warthog, and you can drive in and you can get stuck. While I'm looking for them, I'll send you to my colleague in Juma in South Africa to see what he's got.
How is Lauren doing? Well, Lauren is on her way to another waterhole. We've changed our plan because we have been informed there is lots of alarm calling. Now, alarm calling is normally done by animals like impala, which James showed you earlier, and also monkeys and baboons and things like that. They will alarm call when they see a predator, and normally it is a leopard. So they will make a noise. An impala is actually like a bark. You could easily mistake it for a dog. It kind of sounds like ruff, ruff, kind of ish. But it makes a noise like that, a really deep throat noise, and it's warning everybody, I see a leopard. Everybody, the leopard is there. Aiden's asking a fantastic question. So do leopards have to drink a lot since it's hot? Well, actually, a lot of the big cats, lions as well, actually get a lot of their moisture requirement from the food that they eat, and mostly blood and things like that as well. So they don't necessarily need to drink, but with the leopards that we see here, they enjoy going to the water holes for a drink. We regularly see them there, and they enjoy just having a little drink of water. But they don't need to drink as much as you would think, because they do get a lot of moisture from their food. So nice question, Aiden. So it looks like James has found a spotty cat for you. So let's go over to him and take a look.
What we have here is what we were looking for, and that is a leopard. This is a very special leopard. Her name is Tundi. And she is queen of this area, well, queen of the leopards. All that means, it's a slightly exotic way of saying that she is the dominant female leopard of this area. about 13 years old. Well, not quite. She's into her 13th year. And Amari, if you want to know what leopards eat, I'll try and show it to you. She's just finished a meal. I'm just going to keep my voice low because sometimes she doesn't like the sound of human beings. But if we look up in the big tree over there, and I'll just guide David, who's on camera, the big tall tree, no, the one on the termite mound, there we go. And then just follow the left-hand fork up, that's it, and just zoom in straight there. Sit down a bit. And that branch in shadow is where the kill is. There we are, everybody. So what you have there is probably the remains of a baby duiker. A duiker is a small antelope that we find out here. And that to me looks like the remains of a baby one. Not much left, lots of flies. But hopefully she will go and have feed a little bit later, which will be really nice. So let's go back towards Tundi and have a look at her. She is, like I say, one of our very special favourite leopards. And her daughter is not far from here. Her daughter is sitting just across the road in some very deep shade. Selena, leopards get a lot of sleep. They sleep probably for up to 20 hours a day sometimes, but probably more often sort of 18 hours a day. Depends if they're hunting, if they're marking territory, or if they've just marked their territory and they've just had a big fat meal, then they can sleep for 20 hours. You can see she's panting. That's because it's quite hot. It's not very hot here. It's about 32 apparently or so Celsius, which, if I'm not mistaken, is roughly 89 or so Fahrenheit. But it's really not that bad. For this area, that's pretty good. So you'll probably find that her stomach is very full and she's producing quite a lot of extra what we call metabolic heat. So the very process of trying to digest makes mammals and birds hotter. So if you have a very big meal on a hot day, you also will find yourself feeling a lot hotter. Amari, yes, leopards do eat very little animals. They sometimes eat termites. Those are very tiny animals. They'll sometimes eat frogs and fish and birds. And, well, that little thing hanging in the tree there is very small indeed. It probably only weighed about 3 or 4 pounds when she killed it. So, yes, they absolutely eat very little animals. It's quite difficult to, I suppose, deal with, really. It's quite, if you're just getting used to this area and just starting to enjoy being in the bush or being in the wilderness, it's quite difficult to accept that something that beautiful can inflict such damage on a creature like that little duiker. And it's, like I say quite often, it's one of the great sort of contradictions of the wilderness, and that is that it is very peaceful and very beautiful some of the time, and very savage at other times. Please excuse David coughing, he's got tuberculosis. Elijah, when leopards are scared, what they do is they dial 911. They're quite advanced out here. They've got quite a sophisticated cellular telephone network, and they dial 911, and somebody at the other end answers, and they say, "Hello, what is your emergency, please?" And then hopefully what happens is they send out the leopard police or the leopard ambulance or the leopard fire department to come and help them, depending on what their emergency is. I'm obviously talking rubbish. When leopards are scared, they do one of two things, and it's quite interesting. The first thing, they actually behave exactly like you do when you're scared. When you're scared, you don't feel so nice, right? And your first instinct is to move away from whatever is making you afraid. So if you are, for example, on the playground and somebody threatens you, your first response, if you're a small thing and the person threatening you makes you afraid, is to move away. That's your first response. If that person is too close, and if you don't think you can get away from that person, you only have one other option, and that is to fight, that is to attack. And that's what leopards do. They either run away if they can avoid the threat, or if the threat that is making them afraid is too close, then they will attack. And they can be very, very dangerous if they feel afraid. And it's a wider topic. It's a much more interesting topic because all of the animals out here, just about all of them, including the tree squirrel, are potentially dangerous. None of them are dangerous by default. In other words, none of them are born thinking, I'm going to be a dangerous, nasty creature. This is to human beings, I mean. But if you threaten them, they can be very dangerous. So this leopard, if I got out the car, most likely she would just get up and run away. If, however, she was in a big thick bush and her baby was nearby and she couldn't run away, and her baby couldn't run away, she'd become extremely dangerous. And although she's not much bigger than a large dog, say, I'm trying to think in the US what kind of dog, like a sort of really big Labrador, although she's only that big, she can be extremely dangerous. Elijah, is your question, do leopards have ears? Elijah, was that your question? Oh, fears. I was going to say, Elijah, if you asked if they had ears, I think that you might need to go and see an optometrist fairly soon and get some glasses. But I'm glad that you didn't ask that. So do they have fears? Well, yes, they don't think about their fears in the same way that you and I might think about their fears. But yes, some things make them afraid. We make them afraid on foot. If we were to view this animal on foot, she would become afraid of us. Elephants, buffalo, lions especially, and even hyenas will make leopards afraid. And yes, so they do have a fear. Remember that if an animal has no fear at all, in the wilderness it will probably die quite quickly because there's always something out here that either wants to eat you or take your territory. And so if you don't have fear, for example, if you were that duiker, that's probably a bad example because let's go back to those impala. Imagine those impala that we saw at the very beginning of the drive didn't have any fear at all. Well, if they saw a leopard, they wouldn't be afraid, and then the leopard would just eat them. And then, of course, they wouldn't survive. So that fear helps them to survive when they're threatened by predators. I hope that explains that question to you, Elijah. Glad you didn't ask if they have ears. They do. You can see them. Righty, I believe that Lauren is not far from here and she can hear some impala going.
Yes, indeed, I am still looking very hard. Indeed, there is a much older male leopard being spotted. So there's actually 4 leopards around today, and obviously James has managed to get one of them. So I am now trying to find the older one that really has been spotted. Now he's here somewhere. His name is Tingana, and he is a beautiful, dominant, territorial male. So he was sighted this morning as well, and he's just been spotted on our dam cam. So that is exactly what we are looking for. So it's turning out to be quite the leopard spotted day. Now, the reason I'm always looking to the side is because most likely he will walk in amongst the trees to get some shade rather than on the road where it's probably very hot and exposed right now. So that's why I keep looking off. Lennon is asking, why do leopards have spots? The most brilliant question. Well, believe it or not, you maybe wouldn't think of it if you just think of a leopard, but actually those little spots, which are more like rosettes, as well as the body colour, which is like a golden yellow on the top and goes down to white, actually breaks up its body's outline. So if a leopard is hiding in the bush, it's actually really tricky to see it. It's not easy to spot a leopard. Now, you wouldn't think that, but it is a form of camouflage for the leopard. So these little spots just break up the body outline. I really hope I can show you Tingana because he's a very, very big and handsome male. Are leopards something under their spots, Zoe? I'll just get Emma to repeat that in my ear. Oh, there's a lot happening at the time. A lot of animals. Are they white under their spots? I am not entirely sure what you mean by that question, but if you were to, the spots are hair, like a dog's coat, like fur. So that's where the actual colour comes from. Now, if you were to take a razor and you were to shave a leopard, which would look rather amusing, a bald leopard, I can't even begin to think what that would look like. Underneath would just be a fleshy skin colour, not white. So it is the hair that gives leopards their spots. Now we have arrived at a beautiful waterhole, and I'm actually just going to go and show you all because I don't quite know where our leopard went. I'm just going to show you this big beautiful waterhole. It's a bit of a bumpy road. I do apologise to Craig. Right, I'm just going to go along here and stop. Look at that. Isn't it stunning? A lovely waterhole on a very, very hot afternoon. And there's actually a lot of animals around this waterhole. Look at these impala. They look very alert. Now, I imagine they are the ones that are looking exactly at where Tingana went. Like I mentioned earlier, impala will alarm call, they will bark, and they will look right into the leopard. So now we've got some direction on where he could possibly be. We're going to take a look. And now we're going to send you back up to Isaac with some very lazy lions.
We found the lions. I told you to cross your fingers, and you did. And we have found 3 of the sausage tree pride. All these are females. I can tell because I know them, and apart from that, they usually have a big mane if they are males. So these are the 3 females from the sausage tree pride. They haven't eaten for about 3 days, although they don't look hungry. They ate a buffalo, and I saw them, so I know they're still quite full. I was wondering where they had left, where they had been hiding, or maybe they heard that, you were present today in class and somebody did something naughty and so they wanted to hide. But I found them for you. So nobody has done something bad. Lions live in a small family group called a pride. And they can be females and males. Lillian, you ask if they live near rocks. If where they were born is near rocks, they will definitely live there. And if there is no rocks, they will live wherever they were born. Like in this case, these guys were born in this beautiful, green, open, very wide expanse of grass, and so they live here. So if others are born in rocks, they will live there. So yes, of course, they do live in rocks if they are born there. This one is a female. She's one of the 4 sisters that we know. We have names for them, but they have to stand up so I can see the marks and I can give them the name. I can give you the names. and looks like they're a bit sleepy. Lions sleep a lot. I know we are allowed, we're supposed to sleep 6 to around 8 to 10 hours of a day, but the lions does double of that. It does 15 to 20 hours sleeping, but that is when it has eaten well. They will sleep. Yawn, 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 yawn. When lions do that, it means they are getting restless. Tyler, you ask if lions are eaten by other animals? No. They don't get hunted as a direct source of food. When I say that, other animals don't see them as the easiest animals to kill. The only time other animals kill young lions is like a python finding young ones when the mom is not there. It sounds very cruel, but it does happen sometimes. But everybody else avoids the lion. They fear them. They're so afraid, and nobody wants to get close to them. So they're very feared, and nobody eats them. The lying up like that means they're very relaxed, and they're not worried about me. I don't know if you... Lions love to sun in the morning and in the evening if the sun is not too harsh. Otherwise, they prefer to be in the shade. Does anyone want to come and give one of them a rabbit tummy rub? They don't like lions. Somebody asked if they love swimming. No, lions don't love water. They are not like their cousin, the tigers. They don't like water at all. The only time they want water is when they're drinking it. Anybody want to come and give one of them a tummy rub? Anybody? Volunteers? Oh, who's that lifting the hand? Anybody want to give a tummy rub? No, I will never allow you to give this big cat a tummy rub. It is too dangerous. You would become food. And that's why I'm very close to them, but I cannot dare. That is their paw. The hind paw, and you can see it's got 4 toes and a big pad. On top of that is 5 very sharp claws that are retracted. You see the tip of them, the 2 to the top. They are retracted, and those are the dangerous ones. When they sense that they need them, their brain sends a signal to the brain that sends a message to the feet that pulls them out just like a domestic cat, and they can grab something with them. If you've seen your domestic cat, how big they are, multiply that by 100, that is the size of a lion paw. It is very big. So it's hidden there by something we call a sheath. So they only bring them out when they are hunting, or when you see that they're out now. Look at them. See that? Wow. Did you see that? See how long they were? I don't know if she's gonna put the claw back, but that's how big they are. Yeah, when they stretch, sometimes they push them out, and it's really amazing. Yeah. So those are the ones they use for hunting, for grabbing something. Yes, please think about more questions. But now I'll send you to James, who's got a beautiful other cat.
Here we are still with our leopard. She's fast asleep, enjoying her afternoon, as are we. It's a gorgeous afternoon. Like I said, temperature's very nice. We're sitting in the shade. There's a very pleasant breeze blowing out of the northwest. And I just love this time of the year because although it's hot, everything's green and lush and has a feeling of life about it. Except, of course, for the duiker that's in the tree that has a feeling of death about it because it is, in fact, dead. But everything else feels very fertile. You can hear a lot of insects flying about the place. You can hear Cicada going zeek, 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 zeek in the background. The birds are calling. Logan, leopards make their homes out of, a bit like the three pigs. They sometimes make them of straw, sometimes they make them of sticks, and sometimes they make them out of bricks. And of course, as we all know, in the story of the three little pigs, those that build their houses of straw have them blown over by lions. Those that build them of wood, also the same. But those, like Tundi, who build their homes of bricks, well, the lions come, they huff and they puff, and they try to blow the house down, but they fail. And so Tundi manages to survive. That's obviously another silly answer. None of these animals build homes at all. They don't have any homes other than the outside world. There is an exception, though, and that exception is termites. Termites build enormous mounds, like the one that tree is on, that the kill is in. You can see that big mound there. That mound is a termite's home. And the termite mound home then provides homes for other animals. So it's opened up or dug open by an aardvark or ant bear or a honey badger. And that burrow will then be used as a home by many creatures like mongoose and warthogs and wild dog puppies and hyena youngsters. But most of the big animals like elephants and lions and leopards and adult hyenas don't ever actually go in to have any shelter at all. They just live out in the open. And in fact, from a very young age, this leopard has lived out in the open, probably from the time she was about 8 weeks old. So they don't really have homes in the same way that we do. Now, leopards stay with their parents it depends on whether they're male or female. So she's got a daughter now, and her daughter, little Tlalamba, is just over a year old, and Tlalamba is with her mother still, but becoming more independent. And so what you'll find is that she'll probably be around her mum probably for the next 4 months or so, maybe until she's about 18 months old, and then she might be independent. It might be a bit longer than that, might be a bit shorter than that. Sometimes the males stay up to 2 years, sometimes even longer than that, but normally they go independent around about 18 months, which is a year and a half. You can see she's very tired, but there are lots of flies, and you might be able to hear them going bzzz around, bzzz, and that's why she's kicking her leg like that. Now, I hope that she's going to go and climb up that tree. I suspect it's going to take a little while, however, before she's prepared to do that. Kerry, that's a very interesting question, actually. Can leopards have heart attacks like human beings? That's a very interesting question, and I hope that nobody close to you has ever had a heart attack, but maybe they have. Heart attacks are caused by a build-up, there are a number of things that cause them. Most of the heart attacks that human beings have are caused by some sort of blockage in the valves of the heart. So you've got 4 veins and arteries going into and out of your heart. When one of them gets clogged up, the heart can't pump anymore, and it stops working. That often happens because of some of health defect that we have. You can be born with a dodgy heart. Sometimes people eat very badly. Often in this day and age, we eat very badly. We have what we call inflammation, and we have blockages or plaques in the arteries, and those blockages cause the heart to stop moving. Now, because mostly humans have heart attacks because of our lifestyles, because we eat badly, we don't exercise enough, we live very stressful lives. Obviously, we also have a lot of congenital heart diseases. In other words, we're born with them. You'll find that animals out here don't have heart attacks like that. They can, it's possible, but they don't eat badly. They eat exactly what they were designed to eat. This leopard only eats the meat that she was designed to eat. She doesn't drink colas and sodas. She doesn't eat candies and sweets. She doesn't have fatty takeaway burgers and cheap, nasty cotton candy or popcorn or any of that sort of thing. All of that stuff, as she doesn't drink beer or whiskey or smoke cigarettes or anything like that. All of those things make human beings very unhealthy. But because she eats exactly what she was designed to eat, she doesn't have those problems that we have. And so while it is possible for her to have a congenital heart disease, in other words, a disease that she may have got from her parents, it's very unlikely. Also, if you have got a congenital heart disease as a human being, remember we've got doctors to look after us now, and so while a congenital heart disease for a youngster may result in death in the animal kingdom, so if Tandi gave birth to a youngster with a heart defect, it's quite likely that youngster would just die and we would never know about it. But in human beings that doesn't happen because now we've got doctors, and doctors will find out if you've got a heart problem and they can keep you alive. Often they can fix the problem, but that doesn't happen out here. So a lot of the diseases that affect human beings and the problems that affect human beings, the reasons we go to see our doctors so often, just don't affect wild animals out here for many reasons, but most of those reasons are to do with the fact that these animals live as they were designed to live. They eat what they were designed to eat. They don't smoke and drink and not exercise and live in polluted cities and work stressful jobs and have too much homework and that sort of thing. That's a really interesting question, and you can explore it for. You can go and read lots and lots of books on this sort of subject. Holland leopards do sort of look like cheetahs, yes. They look relatively similar. The big difference is that a cheetah is a specialist and a leopard is a generalist. And so because a cheetah is a specialist, a cheetah is designed very differently. A cheetah is much more slender, it's a bit taller. Its spots are quite different, but that's got nothing to do with its build. So they're taller and more slender. They're not nearly as strong. They've got a much less massive head. Their jaws are not nearly as strong. Their teeth aren't as big, but they're taller. I'm just going to try and find you a picture of both of them together. The two spotted cats that we get out here in Africa. All I can find is mice at the moment. Hedgehog, bat, skunk. Right, so here we have them. These are not very good pictures. That lion, for example, looks like he's just stood on a thorn. There is the cheetah. I've never seen a cheetah rear up like that, but apparently they do. So that's a bit odd. And there's the leopard. So you can see the big difference is that the spots on the coat are just spots, whereas on the leopard they are what we call rosettes. But if you've seen one next to the other, you'll never mistake one for the other, because the cheetah's head is much smaller, the leopard is much lower to the ground, it's built much more stockily. So they're quite stocky, they've got quite a lot of muscle. Unlike the cheetah, which is very slender and it's built for running at those tremendous speeds of up to 60 or 65 miles an hour sometimes. Which is almost as fast as me. Right, now let's go and find out if Isaac's lion looks like the one in this book.
Here, my lions are still very lazy, but they are showing a lot of love. They are licking each other, like hugging each other. You see that? This is what lions do. They love each other. They see that, like that one is telling the other sister, I love you. You have an itch here, let me get rid of you. Yeah, this is what they do on their rest time. Just like leopards that you've been talking about. Zara, I was just about to come to that. Just like leopards, lions love to eat meat. And if they can get as much as possible every day, they will eat as much as possible. They eat a lot of meat. In one day, a fully grown lioness can eat about 80 pounds of meat. That is almost like a small person. I'm glad it's not a person that they eat. But different ones, just like us. There are people who love fries. There are people who love fish. There are people who love, whatever they love, maybe calamari, sushi. The lions also have got some of their favorite foods. These ones here, I know them, and they love buffalo. It's hard to believe, but buffalo is their delicacy. These three girls, there is two sisters that are missing here, and they love buffalo. Others prefer what they grew up eating. There are others that feed on warthogs and others zebra. What I can say for now is thank you very much for joining us. I hope you can join us in the near future. Goodbye and take care of yourself. Hello, our great viewers. I hope you're there, and I'm very happy for you joining us once more. My name is Isaac Rotich, and behind the camera is Bungay. I am here with my favorite pride of lions, the Sausage Tree Pride. Today, they're quite far away from where the cubs are. Looks like they are getting ready for something. They've all been sitting here watching around, and looks like they're gonna go do something. The two here, haven't identified them really, but they are showing lots of love to each other. I don't know what's the idea behind that, but this kind of social grooming is very common amongst female lionesses and their cubs, and to get together, with their sisters. Look at how healthy she is, Bloom. Yeah, and it does happen whenever sometimes a mission is to be taken. They can do this. Most of the time is usually just about when they're about to go hunting. Yesterday, things were not as they are supposed to be. If you didn't join us, I was watching these three girls with all their cubs. We know Miti has got 3 new cubs, and Limpy has got 1, and then the other female, who haven't given a name, has got 2. All of them were together, and then there was this cub that was in a distress, and it looked like she was the weakest. Nobody was really caring about her. I've come and I've checked where she was and haven't seen anything. Hopefully, they will get back there, and hopefully the little one will come out. But for now, it looks like they have something different on the agenda. Meat. I don't know what kind. Definitely not sushi. Lionheart, love your name. Yes, beautiful lion love. It was all happening, like I said, and they are about to do something. They normally do that so that to give each other courage. It's like when a boxer is just about to get into the ring, he gets, muscles get stretched, get, rubbed a little bit. That's like what they're doing right now, wanting to go out for a hunt. Something beautiful is just about to happen, and I'm gonna start my vehicle. Don't go anywhere. While I do this, I will send you to Lauren to see what's happening with the leopard.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to your very hot and sticky safari today. Now, my name is Lauren, and on camera, I do have Craig with me today. Now, obviously, we have been on already doing the school drive, and the very frustrating thing of today is that we know Tingana is here somewhere, and this is the 3rd time we've done this loop of this road, and we just can't see him. Now, right down to the right of us is a drainage line. So it's highly, highly likely that he's gone into this drainage line, which is very difficult for us to see. So he was seen going past the dam cam. Lots of alarm calls. So we raced there, which probably wasn't very pleasant for Craig. And we've just missed him. And I feel really frustrated. I really wanted to have a nice look at Tingana today. So it's still really hot, even though it's getting a little bit later in the day. So he most likely is in the drainage line, enjoying some shade and some coolness, which I would absolutely love. So of course, as usual, don't forget to send in your questions and comments. We will always try to answer them as best as we can. So we're going to keep looking for Tingana for now because we know he's somewhere, but let's go up to Isaac, who is looking at a beautiful sunset.
They have moved quite a distance. Now I'm left with one of the females. In front of her is a beautiful sunset. I thought I might share this with you because it is so beautiful. This lioness has got her eyes glued on some giraffes that are quite a distance away, but I don't know if she's gonna go for that. At the moment, and for the moment, I'm just gonna relax here and enjoy this beautiful end of day with this beautiful, healthy lioness. I haven't been able to identify any of them yet, but because I've been looking all around, but definitely looks like the two that were here have left and they're headed back towards where the cubs are. Remember to join us on #SafariLive. Any comments are more than welcome. You can ask us as many questions as possible. And also you can, live stream on YouTube to be able to watch us live. This is happening just now, and it's so super, super beautiful. You can hear the birds. That was a cocky francolin. Samantha, you say they want some buffalo. Yes, that is their favorite, but on the menu at the moment is giraffe. But I doubt if 3 can bring down a giraffe. But, I will not underestimate the power of these sausage tree girls. They are so powerful and so, intimidating to any animal. So I won't say anything. I haven't seen any kind of interest. The only interest has been looking and gazing. All of them are lined up a long way down, and they are all looking at the giraffe. This is the closest one to us, and it's the one facing sunset, and so that's why I decided to stop here. I don't know what she's looking on the other side of the river, but maybe she has seen some bacon, or warthog. Definitely, if they don't find something, then on their menu, on top of their menu, it will be buffalo, which are in plenty over this area. They just need to move out of this area and go further up, and then, they will definitely find buffalo. Okay, what do you want to do, girl? Do you want to join your sisters, or what do you want to do? Bulk, a dog, you ask? Are they bothered with the flies on their stomachs? No, they don't bother them. Actually, those flies play a very big role because they are ectoparasites that can infest in their skin, and so they come in and kill those, and eat those ectoparasites. So these flies are useful. The only ones that get irritating are the ones that go to the face immediately after they've eaten, and those ones are usually trying to, feed off that fresh blood. But otherwise, they don't get disturbed by the one in the stomachs. When she's seated like this, she can see quite a distance away. maybe about 1 kilometer away, which is like 3,000 feet. That's how far they can see. I'm sure where she's seated, she can see a warthog walking in long grass, and that's why she's on a mound trying to locate something for dinner. Well, all is happening here in the Masai Mara. Bungei will shortly show you the giraffes that are quite a long way that way, where they are looking, and that's what they're interested in. If you see them, they're way over there. They're quite a long way. We have to zoom in. You see that? Those giraffes are glued on these lions. I'm sure they are trying to tell each other, how many are they? Do you know who they are? Yes, when they stay quite still, sometimes you would mistake them for trees. But at the moment they stand out for me, and their intense look tells me that already they have seen the lionesses. They're moving closer to see what is here is actually to confirm, what is the location of all, to locate where all of them are, and so they can diffuse the danger. While this is happening, I'll say to Jamie, down in Duma and see what's happening down there.
Leopards are definitely not easy. I'm sure these giraffes had a much easier time spotting those lions than I am with these leopards. So quick update, Tingana seems to have gone into the drainage line. I'm getting blinded when I look back here. And we drove past it 3 times and it is just too difficult to see within a vehicle. So we got an update on a potential location for Hosanna. It's actually not too far. So that's where we're on our way to this now. Now, please send out your leopard luck, because it would be ideal on a hot day like this to see Hosanna. Apparently, he is up a marula tree, and that is my absolute favorite thing when I see a leopard just in a tree. It's just, I don't know, it's really adorable. So that we did change our plan slightly, but that is why Tingana seems to have evaded us once again. And he's probably found a nice cool spot, and he's just decided to take another little nap, which makes it really difficult for us. Harshal's asking, do leopards ever share territories? So that's quite a complex question. So let's start with the perfect examples that I am actually talking about this now, and that is Tingana and Hosanna. So Tingana is indeed Hosanna's father. And Hosanna's at a very funny age. He's almost 3, very soon actually. Another week and a bit will be his birthday. And he is currently within his father's territory because he's at that stage in his life where he hasn't dispersed yet and he's not a territorial male. So he's not scent marking or doing territorial patrols or even sawing yet. So Tingana, the older leopard, is very tolerant and allowing him to stay within the territory. So if you call that sharing, then I guess they do. But once Hosanna gets older and does start to become a dominant male, that will become a different story. So it's going to be an important year for Hosanna this year to see whether he will stay or he will disperse. Now, when it comes to females, male leopards tend to have their territories to cover many, well, maybe 3 female territories. So male leopards design their territories based on females, whereas female leopards will design their territories based on den sites and resources. So they both have different priorities, and of course the male leopard's priority is indeed the ladies. So sharing is a word I wouldn't necessarily use, but certain leopards' territories overlap. So I hope that does answer your question, but we do have a very beautiful female leopard waiting to see you. So let's go across to James.
We have come back to you. In fact, you have come back to us at precisely the right moment. Look, Tandi is going to walk into that sea of glorious feathered chloris and then hopefully climb up into the boughs of that shottier tree in front of us. This is going to be special. David, do you want me to move, or shall we just let it roll from here?
Just
5 seconds, okay.
Yep.
Move, okay. She's now having a small dump. So it's a good time to move. You know, we don't want to disturb that sensitive time, I don't think. It's going to ease gently up to the edge here and then get into a position where David won't shout at me. How's that, David? Is that okay? All of you very excited to see Tandi. Well, it's wonderful. I was quite excited to see her myself. Tlalamba is not far off to the right-hand side. I'm going to be quiet now and let her climb this tree in this magnificent atmosphere. Just listen and pretend you can smell. David, stop shaking the camera, please. Thank you. You can hear the wind blowing a little bit. You can hear a cicada off to the left. Psh, 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 psh. Oh, that's magic. Kill's just behind where she's standing now, so let's just wait here. No, let's move. Okay. Right, as I move, everybody, we do have a drone session this evening. That's the good news, and there's more good news. You get to be part of the drone session this evening. We're not going to do it privately. You're going to be part of it. So the drive is of normal length. It's just shifted slightly later. Whether you'll see anything on the drone, well, that remains to be seen. We'll be sure to pillory Sebastian Rombi. We don't see anything because I believe it was him that instigated the discussion on who is the worst driver at Wild Earth, a competition which I sadly won, apparently hands down, being voted less able to drive a car than all of the tech team, the production team, the CamOps team, and obviously all of the guides as well. Utter rubbish, of course. That is a very inconvenient position she's put herself in, I must say. David, short of mounting this termite mound, I'm not sure that we're going to get a better view. We can get a little bit closer, yes. Maybe from the other angle. We might get her. She's really blocked the golden light there, isn't she? Is that right? There we go. Tandi in her tree. that a wound on her? Or is it just blood? Looks like a bit of a wound. It is definitely a wound. Ooh. That's not a very nice wound at all. She hasn't had that before. Or has she? I don't recall that. I know Hosana's had a wound. But I don't think Tundi has had a wound. Let me have a look at it with my binoculars. Let me preempt any questions. Apparently somebody did mention it on Drive. That is nasty. That's quite a deep gash. Oof. That's horrible. No, she did that. Looks like something sticked her. Unless she managed to do it while she was catching this animal. Maybe she got it while catching this duiker. Wrestling it, and she, nailed herself on a branch or something. But that's a proper tear of skin. So you can see the skin is all around it is also torn. And no, that's not what I meant. I meant all the fur from around it has been pulled out. Oof. Anyway, very resilient these are, and obviously it doesn't affect her hunting at all. She's still hunting quite nicely, clearly. Now I'm just getting a message from Stephen Falconbridge, who's obviously watching the show. And he says he saw that wound and another one on her 2 days ago, and Tristan reckons that she had a spat with Sibui maybe, so it could have been another leopard that had a go at it. The only reason that I would maybe disagree with that is that the wound is so clear of hair around it. She may have done that herself by licking it. But it looks like it's been scraped. It's almost like a graze that's then got sort of stuck, if you know what I mean. But maybe it was a box with Sibui, a leopardess to the south of her territory. No, Debbie, it doesn't look like it's infected. It just looks nasty. I don't think it will get infected. It's amazing how brilliant these animals are at avoiding infection that would almost certainly kill us. She's very, very full, isn't she? Now, I believe that in the Masai Mara it has become much darker than it is over here.
Now, something very interesting is unfolding here. There is mixed feelings amongst these giraffes, where the one walking away, I think, has got confirmation that there is danger and threat up this way. The rest are not quite sure, and they are deciding to move closer to that gully. You saw one disappearing. They want to go in there and start browsing. It is rather a dangerous situation and decision, but who am I to say anything? Our lionesses are all in stalking mode, not very far from where I am. Remember, we are on infrared right now. This is camera and lights that are able to give us ability to see in the dark and give you extra coverage. You see that female, she is up now, and that is stalking mode. What is going to happen here, guys? I don't know. Let me not put you off your seats, but for the moment, all I can tell you is I hope you have enough time, because this might take a little bit longer, but definitely this female is in search of a meal. And in this case, on the menu is giraffe. Rather, a very hard choice to bring down, but these are lions, and anything available, they will try and go for them. These are the rest of the society prides, which are quite a distance away, and they're all waiting. Lions do bring down giraffes. It is seldom seen, but when push come to shove, they will go for anything that is available in their territory. I have seen them bring down a giraffe, and they do bring down giraffe. It's not one of the, like the easiest choice, but when giraffes are there, they will go for giraffes. And in this case, this is what they're going for. Yeah, while this is unfolding, I'll be here, so don't you worry in case of anything. I'll be right back. Let me send you to Lauren, who's found another beautiful cat for you.
And look who we found. It took a while, didn't it? And we were in this area earlier. We did find Hosanna. Now, I hoped he would be up the marula tree right next to us, which is apparently where he was, but he's obviously came down and nestled himself in amongst the grass. And he's having a good groom here. Hello, handsome. Oh, it really feels good when you finally found the leopard that you've actually been looking for. I did do my leopard dance, but you missed it, so I shall not repeat that dance. But it has been a really hot day, and he has been in this area for some time, so it's obviously just not cool enough for him to get up and about. But we did have him last night attempting to hunt a scrub hare. Now, it was a failed attempt. Oh, now he's chewing on some grass. What are you doing? Now, just like dogs, if any of you have had pet dogs at home, I've never had a domestic cat, but dogs also eat grass whenever they potentially have a sore tummy, or if they feel like maybe they just need some grass in their tummy, maybe to help things moving. Or it could just playfully be biting the grass here for no other reason than just to bite the grass. But I know at home, whenever my dog has a sore stomach or an upset stomach, she's probably ate something she shouldn't have, she will go outside and eat grass. Oh, classic Hosanna. We're back down on the ground. He's in a fantastic little spot here. So it looks like we are having an issue with the evil gremlins just now, so bear with us. We are going to go on tech loop. Don't go anywhere. Now, we are terribly sorry about that. The gremlins caught up with us once again, but we won. Our super duper technical team managed to get us back with a very sleepy and flat Hosanna. So it's not the best view of him, shall we say. He is literally almost camouflaged in amongst the grass here. You can just see he's panting and his belly moving up and down. But it is starting to near, I'm just checking, yes, 6:15 here in the evening. There's a light breeze coming through and the sun is getting much lower. So finally, the heat is disappearing ever so slightly. So maybe he's going to get up soon. I really hope he does. And then we can follow him and see exactly where he goes. But for now, he is just the sleepiest of cats. And why does that not surprise me? We do have some other vehicles around in case you can hear any noise. We are not alone at this precious sighting. Now, just in the past few days, we've got Tandy and Tlalamba on Juma. We also have Tingana, who we're not able to find, who disappeared through our fingers, literally, and Hosanna. So that's 4 of them all here on Juma today. And Tandy and Tlalamba are really not that far away with James. So it really is a leopard kind of day. Now, as you know, we are going into a drone session tonight. We have an hour of droning, so that's going to be very interesting to see what we find. Now, it will be dark, so we will be looking through the thermal camera, and of course it will be interesting to see what these cats get up to once it's completely dark. So I really do hope Hosanna gets up and moves at some point, but for now, let's go up to Isaac, who's with the lions.
All right, this is one of the females that was initiating the hunt. She was up and then she sat down. Remember, it is dark here. We are using infrared lights and camera to allow us to give you this hunt unfolding. It is pitch dark. If it was me, I won't be able to see even 10 meters, which is 30 feet. These are the sausage tree pride, and the intense look on this female, remember, she wants to go for giraffe. Unlike in Juma, where they have luck with lots of leopards, we do have leopards here, but ours are very shy, and some areas like this one, they are rarely visited, so they're not used to humans, and so when they see you, they normally slip away and disappear. So I'm very glad that we are able to show you and give you different kind of animals. And over here we have lions in plenty, and especially these guys. Now she has decided to rest. I don't know what's on her mind, but usually when that happens, it means the giraffe have like focused on where she is, and she thinks the best thing to do is to duck down for a few minutes, and then to make the giraffe wonder or think, was that a lion or something we saw or not. And then once they are undecided, they might change their minds and turn around, and that's when she goes back to stalking mode. And I think this is what she's doing here. Over there, I can tell, the giraffes, some of them are stopped. They're looking, some of them are retrieving. Jimmy, yes, it is a feast if they do kill one, but I don't know. You can tell the way they're walking, they're on high alert. Over here, some of them are relaxed, but the darkness, they know, brings a lot of worry to some, like the most experienced one. Those 2 to the right are least experienced, and they're still eating. Obviously unaware that somebody else is, stalking them. But the way they're heading looks like it's the right direction and the right decision. If they decide to go that way, then it means it's another waiting game for the lionesses. They might end up going for something later in the night or tomorrow morning. But there are still a few who are still behind. There are others in the gully, and still, they haven't gone very far. They're not very far, so you never know what's going to happen. What happens here, you will have to appreciate those documentaries that, you watch for half an hour and everything unfolds so fast until you see blood and the lions eating. Usually that one, sometimes they take 6-10 hours, 1 month, and they edit it so quickly for you to be able to be entertained. Over here, it is happening firsthand, and we have to wait. There's nothing like editing here. I have to wait. I have to sit here until it happens. If it doesn't happen, there's nothing I can do. I won't take another clip and add it to another and then give it to you as a kill. We'll just, let it fold as it's supposed to happen. I don't know what the other feel. Yes, while I'm waiting for this, let me send you all the way back to Jamie, my colleague in Juma, South Africa, who's got Tandy, one of the most beautiful leopards.
Right, we are waiting but enjoying. Tandy has gone to sleep in the top of her tree, and, well, we've lost the light, unfortunately, but that's okay. We've still got the leopard. We don't need the light. We had some gorgeous golden light on her that has now faded, I'm afraid. No sign of Tlalamba yet. I suppose we could go and look for her, but I think we'll probably just wait here and see if she doesn't pitch up. I think the chances of her pitching up are probably quite high. I do apologise for all the technical glitches that we've been having today. I'm not sure why they have occurred. MWY, I think you missed this probably because of our tech glitch. Sibuya is a leopardess with a territory to the south of Tandi's. So Tandi's got the sort of central Djuma area. She's got her daughter Guchava to the south and east, mostly to the east. And then she's got Sibuyi to the central south. And she may have had an altercation with Sibuyi. I suspect quite strongly if there was an altercation, it was provoked by Tandi. Tandi is not afraid to have a physical altercation with another leopard. Unlike most leopards who will try and avoid physical fights, Tandi seems to revel in them. David, you're looking behind us. Can you see the other leopard coming?
No.
I also have Corley back from leave on the car at the moment, and he's sitting with a great big apple core in his mouth at the moment, looking for the leopard behind us. A good question, one that I've now forgotten along with the name of the person who asked it. So can we have it again, please, Emma? Emma's directing, by the way, in Johannesburg. Quite astounding. The last Healy, you're wondering what gremlins are. Gremlins, the last Healy, are these little creatures that look like, well, sweet teddy bears, basically. They've got longish ears. And the rule with the gremlin is that you can't feed it at night. It must eat only in the day and must not be exposed to water. If it's exposed to water, it multiplies, and if it eats at night, it forms a sort of chrysalis and then turns into a monster. And that is what a gremlin is. I don't think that's the question you actually were asking. The gremlins here are what we blame for technical glitches that happen. So the fact that we had to go off air and the fact that YouTube was operating in an eon well in the past, we blamed on the gremlins. That's why we refer to gremlins, everybody. Now, I'm most impressed because Lauren said to me today, she said, I suppose you want to go and see Tlalamba and Tandi. So I said, well, that would be great, thank you. She said, I'll go and look for Hosanna. And so she's found him.
So Mr. Hosanna did get up and he started almost beginning the stalk of some impala, which are just right in front of him over to our left side. Now he's gone back down on the ground, but he's watching them very intently. And it's a herd of impala, so there's many of them. They don't seem to have noticed him. There's no alarm calls, There's no shouting or staring in this direction, but he is definitely onto them. And it's just came to this perfect time of night where the sun's really going down now. Temperatures are much, much cooler than just even an hour ago, and Hasana's definitely aware of it. So we did reposition because there's a high chance he's just going to get up and try and move from bush to bush to get closer to these impala. Now the problem is right in front of him is the road, as you can see. Now that's an open and exposed area. So that's his tricky point. He's came as close to the road as he can, under cover. But the minute he steps onto that road, there's no grass or bush to hide behind. And that's the area where he could become exposed to these impala. So he's got some decisions to make, to be honest. Craig's just going to show you the impala this now, just through there. It's not the most perfect view for us, but he definitely has a perfect view of them. Now, I can't even see if they're males or females from here. No. Oh, it looks like I can see some females. And he's definitely got his sights set on them. Look at how camouflage he is there. Now, we got asked on the school drive why the leopards have spots, and there you go. He's really not easy to spot in amongst the grass and the little bush. He does look a bit silly, Emma, hiding behind this very small bush. It's the smallest of all the bushes around, but he's managed to get completely covered. He's done it well. I just don't know how he's going to get over the obstacle of this road. Now, if the road wasn't there, if it was more grass and more bushes, then absolutely he would keep edging forward. Hasana, you've got a decision to make. Look at him just staring at the impala. Oh, I wish we had names for all the impalas. I really do. I absolutely love impalas. I think they are gorgeous animals to look at. And there is a lot of them. You know, it's very unlikely that you would go on a drive and never bump into an impala. So that would be a lot of names. But if anyone's willing to take up that task, you're more than happy to volunteer for it. Right, Hasana, what are you going to do now? He's becoming quite the hunter. Obviously, impala is... Obviously... I've totally lost my train of thought there. Where have you gone, train of thought? Yes, it's back. So, obviously, Hasana will subside on things like scrub hairs, and he's been known to eat tortoises and things like that. Oh. Look at that face. He's like, that's my dinner. Oh. Alarm call. I'm not sure if you heard that. An impala gave an alarm call. Have they seen him? He's pretty camouflaged here. Yep, it's very possible he's been seen. Yep, they're alarm calling. It has to be at him. I can't actually see them now, but I can hear them. Hasana, it looks like there's a large possibility you've been spotted, boy. And if he has been spotted, wow, what an eyesight these impalas must have. He does look a little bit deflated, doesn't he? Oh, yes. He looks a bit sheepish. He's gone right back down to that bush. He's well aware that he has been spotted. Now, the bravery of these impala, just to face head on, look in the direction of their predator and just alarm call like that is incredible. I can't see which one is making it, but one of them is alarm calling. So now he's got some decisions to make. Of course, we're going to stay here with our rather sheepish boy. He might come up with another trick, but for now, let's go back over to Isaac and his lions.
Here I am. I've decided to leave my spot because we couldn't see the females where they had gone. They're somewhere here. There's one that's way down. I don't want to interfere with that, but I just wanted to make sure that I'm in contact with the two that were behind, because they somehow managed to sneak off my sight, and I can't seem to find them. So I don't know if they're hanging behind the vehicle, just laughing at me, or they are somewhere underneath the vehicle, but I can't seem to find them. The other one is somewhere down to my left, but I don't want to get close to her because she's the one that was really like getting close to the laga, or the little forest stream down there where the giraffes were. I can't seem to locate the two. They've all disappeared on me. So I'm gonna try and reposition somewhere here, and maybe we'll try and find you the lone lioness and see what she was doing. But she wasn't doing very much. The last time you saw her, she was up and then she sat down. She was still in the same position. That is way down there, so she could be in the same area. Okay, we'll try and find her with our infrared camera, because with the spotlight I can't see her. Let's see. Let's try. She's way down there somewhere. Who's that? Oh! What was that? There is a cub calling down this way. There is a cub, surprisingly. I don't know which one, but we can hear the sound of a young cub calling. I don't know if it's the youngest three that are heading this way. It could be a big surprise. I don't know where they're headed. Anyway, at the moment, there is nothing much happening. The lionesses are down. The giraffes are across. We can't see them very much because it's beyond our amazing camera. The only thing we can do is to follow the lions, and they're down in the grass. So I'm gonna sit here and wait them out to see what they're gonna do. And while I do that, to entertain you, you will have to come to me with a lot of questions about hunting and about lions. And I really appreciate if you engage us on Twitter, #SafariLive, or YouTube live streaming. You can see us there. But at the moment, I'm sitting here hoping that, this hunt unfolding will end up in success for these three beautiful young mothers, the Sausage Tree Pride. We did hear of a cub calling. I'm sure it's somewhere down there. I'm not gonna get close because I don't know what it's happening. But sitting here will let me, and listening will let me know if the cubs are coming out, and if they do, I will head there and I will definitely share them with you. It's pitch dark. I can't see nothing. I can't see nothing. Kosada, you ask how long the cubs can survive without their mothers. I would say the longest I've ever seen was about 6 days. The mother had gone long ways out to hunt, and she came back after about 6 days, and that's the longest I've ever seen. I don't know if you want to know about this cub that we saw yesterday, how long she's been away, or the mother was away. It was away for about 4 days, which is rather too much for such a young cub. And I hope eventually when we left yesterday that the little guy had a little bit to drink, because the mother did have a lot of milk, and today when we arrived she didn't have as much milk as yesterday. So I'm hoping it did drink, and it's not the one calling, because usually when they call it means they are seeking attention. They want their moms, and they want some milk or some food. So let me listen out if I can hear anything. Just the sound of frogs, crickets, cicadas, and nothing else but peace. Yes. Yes, while I do this and scout what is happening here, I'll send you to James, who's with Thandi, another beautiful leopard of Juma.
There is a fascinating story going on there in the Masai Mara with the sausage tree pride lioness called, well, who we've nicknamed, dare I say called her, we've nicknamed her Mti because she likes to climb trees. We initially, of course, heard that there were 4 cubs. Adam Bannister of Angama Mara saw 4 cubs. And then when we saw them, and in fact he saw them the day before we saw them, again he said he thought one had died because there were only 3 left. But it would seem that there is this one calling again, and whether or not Mti has still got 4 or not, and maybe she's rejected the one because it's too weak and feeble to keep up, I don't know. Anyway, hopefully Isaac will be able to unravel that mystery before the end of the day. There we have got Thandi. She is sitting on her limb of Scotia tree, very content. No sign of the little one yet, and really not much left on the carcass. I don't know why she moved up there. People often say, do leopards sleep in trees? And the answer is normally not unless they have a kill, simply because it's not particularly comfortable, I don't think. It's spiky. You've got to be careful not to fall out. And, you know, a shady patch of thick grass, I would imagine, is much more comfortable than sitting in a tree. So I'm not really sure why she's up there, given that she was lying in the shade. Perhaps as the sun started to set, she thought it might be a bit safer up there, I don't know. Maybe she was just a bit bored and uncomfortable and wanted to move around a bit. That's also possible. I'm hoping Tlalamba will pitch up before the end of our drive. But of course the drive is not nearly finished. Remember, we still have got another hour at 7 o'clock of droning and normal drive. So although I said we were going to be live with the drone, there will be Isaac and Lauren around, and then of course the drone as well. So basically you just get an extra feed in the dark. The great Sébastien Ramby, most awesome French Gabonese Air Force pilot in history. I think after this segment we'll go and look for Tlalamba and see if we can find her, but it is rather special sitting with Thandi, A, because she's sitting so nicely in that tree, and B, because, well, she's not snarling at us. It's one of the first sightings I've had for a very long time where she has not just at least once looked at me and gone, I see this other vehicle has stopped. Not far from here. We might be lucky it's now reversing. I wonder if she's not coming this way. Either that or they're off for a gin and tonic. She's just in there. Josh, it's very unlikely that she'd move her territory to Torchwood. She already has quite a lot of Torchwood. If she does contract her territory, in other words, move into a sort of more open area, the next leopard who will take that bit of vacated land is almost certainly going to be Tlalamba. It wouldn't be anyone else, and she won't move for anyone else. Gorgeous picture of complete repose, isn't it? You could easily walk underneath that tree and you wouldn't know anything about it. I have done that before, walked under a tree, didn't know there was a leopard there. Righty, slightly more alert is the brother of this cat with Lauren.
Isn't that just the most beautiful sight of Hosanna? Look at him, just looking so big and proud. Now he's watching something very intently. I can't see what it is, but I do think it is the impala. He lay low for a while, he's let them move on, and I think he's hoping that they will forget that he was even there. Now he's put in distance, between himself and the impala so that he can now get over the obstacle of the road and just start stalking them, going from bush to bush or tree to tree. Now, obviously, the grass is much higher here than it was just even a month ago, so that's to his advantage. So I can't see these impala. I know roughly what direction they're in. So I'm not sure exactly what he's going to do, but I imagine he's going to get up at some point and slowly cross the road and start stalking them by going behind the bushes. Look at that pose. The last Dealey is saying he's so handsome. Oh, he is indeed. Look at that. And his dewlaps growing. I think he's going to be just as regal as his father is. He is just absolutely stunning. Now, cats don't have the reputation for being the most smartest out here in the bush, but I have to disagree. Hosanna knows exactly where he stands. He knew he had been spotted. He knows he's got that obstacle. And he knows he has to create distance. He knows exactly what he's doing. Now, that doesn't mean any hunt is going to be entirely successful. But this boy knows exactly what he's doing and how to navigate through the environment. Here he goes. Look how low he's keeping to the ground. Look, he's checking. Can they see me? Can you see that? He knows exactly where these impala. Oh, he's going in the opposite direction. Are you giving up on those impala, Hosanna? Okay, we're just gonna go along side on. Now, this is a bit of a bumpy road, so bear with me. Lots of bumps here. I don't want to throw Craig off the vehicle. That would not be smart. It's so hard to keep track of him because the grass is so tall. Yes, Emma's agreeing with me. That would be awkward if I threw my cameraman off. And for some reason, trees are just jumping out at me at the minute. I don't know what's happening. Right, okay, I'm just going to turn off here so we can see exactly what he's planning. He's obviously heard something from the other direction. Ah, termite mound. The perfect spot for a leopard. It gives him a little bit of height and a little bit of cover. Oh, you've turned your back to us. Oh, that is a rather adorable view, though. I'm just going to see if maybe we can get a little bit closer. We're slightly far away, just giving him the space that he needs. Now, he's definitely looking in the forward direction, so we're not, of course, going to block him. There we go. He's now looking off to the right. I think he can hear and smell lots of things, to be honest. James is asking, what underwater species had similar territorial behaviour to leopards? Wow. Okay. Honestly, I really don't think I could probably say what species has a similar territorial behaviour to leopards. Maybe not necessarily any. Turtles are not necessarily territorial in the way that they just stay on a home reef, more like a home range, if you like. Sharks are not known to be territorial. Manta rays are not known to be territorial. However, the reef fish, there is certain reef fish, like the parrotfish, for example, where the male will have a harem. So he will have a harem of females, all scattered over a small area. So it's not very comparable, because the size comparison is much different. So a male parrotfish will have all his females in the one area. Oh, Hosanna's on the move. And he will be in charge of those females. So just like a male leopard has a number of female leopards in his territory, I'm just going to move as I'm talking. Oh dear, something has just happened to my clutch. Okay, we are having vehicle problems and Hosanna is gone behind the mount. That is not ideal. So I'm not going to be able to go anywhere, I'm afraid. So while I deal with this, let's go across to James, but we'll keep our eye on Hosanna.
Ah, I see that Lauren broke her car. Interestingly, I have not broken my car. I wonder if that's because I'm not the worst driver at Wild Earth. There is a Tlalamba. And I don't know about you, but I think she looks a little bit like her brother Tamba. Now, she's got rather large ears. That is, of course, because of her age. I also feel slightly ridiculous saying that because most leopards look very similar to me. Now, you see, I was talking about sleeping in trees a little bit earlier, and I think this is a much more comfortable spot for a leopard to be sleeping. Take care. No, I don't think leopards do have eyebrows. They've got a couple of whiskers above the eyes. Whether you define that as an eyebrow, I'm not really sure. I'm going to say their faces kind of are one large eyebrow. It's a little bit like their eyebrows have closed around the eye and then the rest of the face. I think they do have one or two sort of whiskers there, but no, I wouldn't say that's an eyebrow. You can see a lovely picture of Tlalamba now. Oh, this is very exciting. Isaac has some interesting, possibly exciting news for you.
Something amazing just happened. We left where they were hunting and we came to where the cubs were, and surprisingly enough, it looked like the hunt was aborted and everybody decided to regroup back to where the cubs were. And one amazing thing I can tell you is that I have witnessed that all 4 cubs are alive, and one of the youngest one that was missing yesterday, it's rather very weak and has got a limp on its back left leg. I wish I could cross over the other side, but those are them there. No, those are the older ones. The younger ones have moved to the left. So in a moment, I'll try and... Actually, those ones are the young ones. Yeah, they are there. I don't know if the one that was missing yesterday is there, but yes, this one is even better than the hunt for me. Whoever didn't join us yesterday, we witnessed 3 cubs, and then there was one that was in big distress, trying to get out of it was trying to come out, but it couldn't make it. I just saw it following its mom, and it had a limp. I don't know how I can cross here. It's rather hard because in front of me is a big dish. They are across the other side. I'll see what I can do in a moment, and so I can share this with you, but it's really amazing. What you're looking there, it's the older cubs. It's not the youngest one. The youngest one have gone slightly to the left with Miti, their mother. And this time, actually, she was waiting for the young one, which is quite beautiful. It's actually really loved that, loved it, that, she waited for the little guy to climb that little cliff over there. They were inside, she came and went across, and they all followed, but they turned to the left and disappeared off somewhere there in the bush appearing right now. They disappear off there, and I can't see them. But if I try and reposition, maybe I'll see them. They're somewhere. Let me see if I can find them with my spotlight, and then I'll be able to position so I can share that with you. It's actually very moving for me to experience that, and I'm so happy that they're all still alive, which means if they don't go anywhere, the little guy will be able to suckle, and so it will have enough energy to follow the mom tomorrow. Lily, you said such a fantastic news. Yes, it is amazing news, happy news. It's not always as sad as, it looks. Yeah, it's still alive. Yeah, let me try and do something and see. Thank you very much for everybody who's been following and who was looking forward to seeing the fourth one and, to hear the news. I can hear it yapping just somewhere behind here, which means I have to reverse, which is rather difficult. Yes, while I do this, let me send you to my colleague who's got a leopard down in Duma. And let me do this easily.
Yes, there is Tlalamba. She has just woken up, sort of. Now she's gone back to sleep. Lauren Arthur has just sent me a voice message, which makes me wonder or not if she's stuck. I'm toying with the idea of playing it to you live. She doesn't normally use bad language, so shall we listen to it?
Driver, but we are having a problem with Wendy's clutch. There was an issue with Wendy's steering yesterday and it went to OPA and the clutch just jammed or something like that. I'm not sure. So it seems to be okay this now, but we're just both Craig and I are just a little bit worried if we have to go off-roading for the drone tonight. So I just wanted to update you and see what you think.
Let's just listen to the first bit once more. You ready, everybody?
Hey James, I am a terrible driver, but we are...
Sorry, just once more.
Hey James, I am a terrible driver, but we are...
Okay, great. Shame. Doesn't sound like she's having a good time. What we are going to have to do then is give her this car for the droning session. So we'll do that once you go back to Isaac. Not that you have to go now. You're very welcome to stay with us for a while. You can stay with us. Let's just stay with Tlalamba for a little while rather than going back to Tundi. Because she's being very sweet, and I think she's about to wake up. This is an amazing question. Apparently I'm not giving straight answers. Grumpy Old Man wants to know if I can give one straight answer before the end of drive. Grumpy Old Man, why don't you ask me a question and let's see if I can give you a straight answer. Do you have some examples of questions that I have not answered in a straight fashion? I apologize profusely for offending you during the course of the afternoon with not evasive answers like a politician. But yes is the answer. I can give you a straight answer. If you ask me a question, I'll give you a straight answer. It might not be a simple answer, but it will certainly be a straight one. Come on, Grumpy Old Man, you don't have long to ask me this question. I'm off drive at 7 o'clock. Apparently, many of you are now lolling. That's either laughing out loud or lots of loving. I'm not sure which. Right, she's up. Now, do something entertaining. No, gone back to sleep. How deeply irksome. I also think that the drone is having a little bit of trouble. Can we have an update on the drone? Will the drone be taking off? Sweet little feet. Apparently it is a bit faulty. Right, here we go. Well, grumpy old man, I mean, that's like asking how fast can a human being run. In my case, I don't run as fast as Usain Bolt. I'm probably faster than you. But we still, we run at various different speeds. You want to know how fast a leopard can run? Well, people have quoted various numbers. The most commonly quoted number is about 45 to 50 miles an hour. Now, that might seem like not a very straight answer. Well, it isn't. It's also difficult to answer in a straight way because obviously a leopard like this, it's very difficult to make it run in a straight line and take an accurate measurement of it. So you can't say, Tlalamba, could you run between that silver cluster leaf tree there and the knobthorn over there a distance of exactly 100 meters? We'll time you on that. Use the equation speed equals distance over time and get the average speed over that area. Obviously, that's not possible. And so most of the speeds that we give are estimations. So there is a variation amongst individuals. I'm sure you get fast leopards and slow leopards. And I'm pretty sure that all of those estimates are just that, estimates. So I do apologize for my inability to give you a straight answer there, but there it is. Cheetah, actually much more easy to measure their speed because you can domesticate them. They've done experiments with cheetah where they get them to chase what do they call the thing? It's a rabbit. It's a fake rabbit, but it's got a special name that they put at greyhound tracks, for example. And you can make a cheetah chase one of those in a straight line, and then you can get a pretty accurate measure of its speed. Also, because a cheetah runs across the plains, if you film it from one point to the other, you can time quite nicely how fast it goes. Thank you, grumpy old man. You say that that is a fair enough answer. I'm most pleased that I have managed to satisfy you to a certain extent. All right, we're going to have to leave now and go and give this car to Lauren, I'm afraid. If that's all right. Right, we'll probably see you at Hosanna with Lauren, where we are going now, and so are you.
So Hosanna is just currently on a mission. He's just literally got up from the most beautiful position we had him in, and he's just darted off. Now I'm going to drive a little bit slowly because of what happened to the clutch, which I will explain. I'm not going to let James do this to me, but let's just find out where he went. We're losing light as well, which is not going to help us find this cat. Did you see where he went, Craig? Do you know, he has been sitting absolutely perfect. Okay, there we go, he's up ahead. I don't want to disturb him, so we're just going to hang back. He's definitely onto something, but I can't see what he's onto. He's just gone completely flat on the road. You could almost mistake him for a log if you were driving. But I don't see what it is he's looking at. Do you see anything, Craig? Nope. Oh, it's a warthog. It's a warthog. Oh. Okay, we can share this moment with the world. Hosanna is right next to the warthog. The warthog appears to be looking in his direction. The warthog's moving off. Hosanna's following. Okay, everybody, we've got a male leopard here. Okay, we have a young male leopard here stalking a warthog. We're just going to get into position. We don't want to interrupt. We're coming to you live here from South Africa. This is Hosanna, a young male leopard who just had a warthog go just mere meters in front of his face. Where did that warthog go, Hosanna? He's on the hunt. He's been checking out potential prey for quite a while. It was impala at first. But I cannot see where this warthog has gone. He's stalking. Ashley, my nerves too, my nerves too. That warthog was a big warthog. Hosanna obviously didn't feel close enough at the time to pounce, or he felt like he'd been seen. Warthogs obviously have big tusks, which could potentially do some damage if the hunt went wrong. So I think we're going to switch possibly here as we're losing light into infrared. So it will look black and white to everybody watching. But this is because we're losing light here and we don't like to use artificial lights on the animals. So we have now switched into infrared. I just want to make sure I know where he's going because the grass is thick, the vegetation's thick here. Marge is saying wow. Yes, this is wow. Okay, I'm just going to move a little bit. Bear with me. Okay, we are having a bit of a icky clutch here. So let me go back onto the road. Let's see if we can. Warthog. Yes, Sarah. Okay, why didn't you go straight to the warthog? Well, we were a little bit far away. We obviously have a great zoom on our camera, so I don't actually know what the distance was between the leopard and the warthog. But leopards are stalkers, and they're ambush stalkers, so they only really jump out at their prey if they're in close. Okay, I've got Hosanna. We've got him. He's just here. Is this okay, Craig? Right, so there's our cat. Now I think that hunt is potentially over. The warthog has gone out of my line of sight anyway. So yes, Sarah, sorry, why he didn't, maybe it wasn't close enough. Leopards they rely on the element of surprise. And also, as I mentioned, that the warthog may have spotted him, so it wouldn't have been a surprise, and they are equipped with dangerous tusks, so it's a weapon, so maybe he just decided it was safer not to go for that one. But wow, thank you for watching. That could have potentially been an incredible night for Hosanna. So thank you, everybody, and we're sorry that the hunt didn't go quite as planned, but anyway, we're going to stick with this cat and see exactly what he does get up to. So we're back again after that failed attempt. Now, it was very brave of him to even consider that warthog. He obviously either could smell it or hear it before he saw it. But we are going to stick with our boy for now. And if he moves, he'll be right back with us. But for now, let's go up to Isaac.
Here I am. I've made the decision that it would be nice to see exactly what is happening with that little one. So I'm driving a long way down, then go across and head towards where that little one is. So nobody else tells me stories. I will know exactly the story. It is better if I know what's going on rather to be told. And because I have a chance, let me utilize it. So at the moment there is nothing much on the path. If it does come, it's a bonus, but I know where I'm going. This is the time of night where it is very dangerous here for whoever lives here. I'm lucky I'm in my company of my favorite Land Rover, Quito. That's what he's called. And I don't have to be out there scared, shivering, looking around, losing my sleep over somebody, trying to get me. And yeah, that's why I'm human, I think. Yeah, my aim is to get there, hopefully soon, and hopefully she'll be there. We just saw her giving milk to all of them, so I'm hoping I can catch maybe even the little one that had been calling in distress, drinking, and that would make my evening great. I would even sleep better tonight. I hope even, I'm sure even some of you will do the same. Some of you have been watching and waiting patiently to see it. Mohead, so you ask if lion saliva has got active bacteria? Yes. Very much like our saliva, it does have some antibacteria. And to prove that is I've seen lion wounds heal faster actually than other animals. So when they lick a wound, it does heal quite fast. They do have some bacteria in saliva. I've seen lion wounds heal much faster than antelope wounds or herbivore wounds. So definitely they have some medicinal value. I don't think I'll like it licking my wound. Might result in changing its mind. So gotta keep its saliva to itself. Yes, it does have some bacterial in its saliva. It's rather not easy driving, looking around, shining the spotlight, but this is what I do. Yeah, keep coming up with the questions. Yeah, let me link you down to Duma with my friend who's got a leopard, and let me try and get to where my baby cubs are.
We are still with our leopard, who hasn't moved an inch since he sat down after that failed warthog attempt, looking a little bit sorry for himself. Look at his face. I think he really was considering about going for that warthog there, which would have been a very difficult sighting to watch. But he is obviously ready to hunt something. He's obviously hungry. He was having a look at those impalas earlier. It's much cooler now. So I imagine he's going to hunt again at some point. Now we're losing light, which is why we are in infrared. So it's becoming even difficult for our eyes to see things. But of course, Hosanna's eyes are adapted for night vision. So I wonder when he is going to get back up again. He's nestled right in the most perfect little ditch here. Now, obviously, our car at the moment isn't performing great, so we will not go after him if he does disappear into the vegetation. I don't feel this car can handle it. Although James does like to tell you and play messages that I am a terrible driver. I should have never said that. I am better than James, and I'm going to make sure everybody knows that I am better than James. This was the car's fault. Isn't that right, Craig? Craig did agree. In case anyone heard different, it did agree. The clutch is playing up, so my driving skills will improve, I assure you. So for now, we're just going to watch him. Oh, he just looks really sad. I know I'm anthropomorphizing here, but he does look really sad. Neither of his plans has went to according to his exact plan tonight. And even last night we caught him missing that scrub here. Now they do say that the amount of attempts that leopards make to make a kill, the success rate is not very high. So the success rate is not high at all for leopards. They will attempt and attempt and attempt. But the success rate is very low, especially for the statistics within the Kruger National Park. So they will always try, and they are opportunistic, as you know. And Tom does agree that he does look a little bit sad after that failed hunt. Now, of course, it requires... Oh, look, you can see his reflecting eyes. That's his night vision working. Now, of course, for a leopard, it will require lots of energy to stalk, ambush, crawl along the ground, shoulder blades up, sniff. So it's probably exhausting. So he probably has to take little breaks in between each sort of moment where he goes down. So I don't know if he's going to get up or not, but let's keep our eyes on him for now. I do believe my rescue car may have arrived. Mr. Hendry is coming to swap vehicles as mine is not performing very well. So he's probably going to tell you that the car is absolutely fine and it is my driving skills, but I can assure you it's not. Here he comes, Mr. Rescue. Hi! Yes, he's going to love this moment. So while we deal with this wonderful car situation, let's go up to Isaac and see what he is up to.
Here I am, still driving around and around. I've crossed the ditch that was making me go all the way around. I'm now across and I'm in the direction of where those cute little ones are. I'm hoping to be there in the next 5-10 minutes or even shorter, because I cannot judge the distance at night very much, and I depend on light to judge that. So I don't know how close I am, but once I get to the corner where they're hiding, I will be able to see them. So I should be there quite soon. The grass is very high. If they lie in the long grass, I might not be able to see them. But the good thing is we have our super special lights, and we'll be able to detect them, hopefully. It is pitch dark. I wouldn't imagine anybody being out here like a human being. We're all by ourselves. Camp is a long way, but I'm loving this. I'm looking forward to finding out what is happening. What are these little guys been up to? Why is the little guy been neglected? Why, is he injured in a way that, he won't be able to make it? Is he drinking? I'm asking myself so many questions right now. Is it that, he's too small and he's been bullied by the other three? That's why, he wasn't able to come out yesterday. That's why, he wasn't in the Buffalo Kill a few days ago. Lots of questions are going through my mind. Yeah, I don't know if we're close now. Not yet. Still a long way. Yeah, let me continue. Yes, so, there is a lot of things to think about, but all the answers will be answered once we see the little guys, and hopefully all will be well. I don't think I'm very far now. No, I'm not very far. I can see the fig tree, so it's somewhere here. Yes, I am looking forward to finding them, but I don't know where they could be. We're looking for them around this area. Yeah, it's not easy navigating, looking for these beautiful cats in dark like this. If they lie down in the grass, they might disappear. I can see one landmark in front of me that tells me I'm very close, and hopefully I'll see a sign, and the sign could be one of the big females or the older cubs. I think it's further up. Yeah, nothing here, so I'll move forward a little bit more. Yeah, I'm asking myself questions and questions and questions, but they will be answered shortly. I don't know what you think. How would you caption this? Yeah, I'll send you, while I look for these guys, I'll send you to Tristan, who's got a drone, and see what he can find with you with a magic drone. Yeah.
Well, yes, Yes, indeed. It is very interesting, is because we are out and about at night and we are not actually moving. We are going to be stationary for now, and we're going to be trying to help Lauren find all kinds of nocturnal critters using the thermal drone, which you can see. This is the screen over here, and the drone is up in the air at the moment and is going to be flying around trying to kind of find all kinds of different little things that come out at night. As I said, my name is Tristan, and on the bonnet with the legs over there is Sebastian. There you go, Sebastian. Sebastian is waving. Don't fall. That was almost a catastrophe. Sebastian almost fell off the bonnet, which would have been not ideal at all. But anyway, that's who's on the drone team. And so what we're going to do is, as you can see on the drone itself, what we're essentially trying to look for is hotspots. These white, bright spots that you see there, now those are in all likelihood impalas that have slowly come out of the bush now and are on the fire break off Philemon's cut line. And basically you can see that they're feeding at the moment. They don't seem too perturbed by the fact that we're flying. We try and kind of keep the drone at a level where we don't disturb the animals, but essentially what we're looking for is those hotspots, and that can be anything out here. It can be porcupines, aardvarks, it can be leopards, lions, whatever it is that is moving around at night. And so the idea is to try and see if we can find these lesser seen nocturnal creatures. Obviously the impalas are just a really nice kind of animal to showcase what the drone actually sees and what we're looking for when we're flying this drone at night. We're trying to kind of figure out where we can find different kinds of animals, and basically once we get a nice spot, they'll then get hold of Lauren and try and see if we can get her to come in and try and investigate what it is. And so Seb is flying nice and low and very slowly for me, and you can actually see how hot the ground is today. After the heat that we've had and the sun that's been out, the termite mounds are glowing, as are the trees themselves. And so we're going to have to pay a little bit of attention as we go along, because anything that's static or on a mound is going to be very, very tricky. Now, Michael, you say, could we find a hyena den with this? Possibly, Michael, and the reason is exactly what I was saying just now, is that the termite mounds themselves get incredibly hot at this time of the day. After a lot of sun is baked down, you can see all of these white spots that you're seeing now. Most of them are either fallen over kind of leadwoods or hardwood trees or termite mounds, and termite mounds will glow white hot. And so if the hyenas are sitting at the mound or in the mound, we're not going to see anything at all. So there's an example of a termite mound on the left-hand side. If they're inside there, there's no chance. But if they're moving around the mound and they're actually mobile, then yes, it's a very, very good tool to be able to find hyena dens, and it's why we're up at the moment. We're trying to look and scan and see all the different areas and try and see if we can find a hyena den. Jamie and I have been talking about it a lot. We're trying to kind of just see what is out there and what we can actually kind of find and see whether or not we do have hyena dens. The thing is that we're going to have to be a bit careful, because at this time of the day a few warthogs will be making their way towards termite mounds, and that's going to make things obviously a little bit more tricky, because at the end of the day you're going to have this kind of warthog that will look very similar to a hyena from the air, and it'll be quite tricky to make it out. But we'll see what we can do. Maybe we'll get lucky and we will find a den, particularly for June. That's probably the one that we're looking for more than anything else. The others seem to still be south of the boundary. Anyway, we're going to keep flying. We're going to keep seeing what else we can find. In the meantime, though, I'm going to send you back up to the Masai Mara and Isaac and see how he's managing to get on in the darkness of the Mara.
Here we are, and all four are here. The one holding on in Mama's teeth is the weakest one. The two, you see that one suckling, the one behind, the one hidden, she's very busy getting what she's been missing. You see that one behind, this one facing us, that is the one that I was very worried about. And actually now, I can breathe. All four are here. And the little guy drinking, there is, a future. There is some light. For her or him, I don't know what it is. You can tell these three little guys are not very hungry. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah. Well, here I am, so happy, very excited. My name is Isaac Rotich, and on camera is Bungei. And what I have here is amazing 4 little cubs. Today, there are 4. Yesterday and the other days, there were 3. It was by just a miracle that we noticed this faint noise calling from a lager, behind all these beautiful ones. Yesterday, I stayed to see if the little guy would come out, and it didn't. But this evening, it is suckling. From all our live coverage that we've been giving you the previous days, you will notice there has been only 3 cubs, but this one suckling very tightly on its mama's nipples has been missing this highly nutritious fast milk. And this Becky, thank you. I'm thankful that you're appreciating. You can tell the little guy is tightly glued to its mommy's tits for this highly nutritious milk that it needs in the first few weeks and months. And it has been missing this. You cannot believe this, but the little guy survived for more than 5 days without mommy and without milk. You can tell by the size. You see those ones, those 3, see how big they are. Look at the little one, he's very weak, he's not as big, and he's not very happy to play. So the other guys are actually bullying him. I thought he had a deformity, but actually he's quite fine. You see, he's still wanting some more milk. This is amazing, guys. I'm so excited, I'm so happy, I'm so chuffed. I hope you're feeling the same. And Deborah, you ask, where did they find it? It was here all along, but for some reason, it didn't follow Mom for that long 1-kilometer trek when they killed the buffalo. I'm still wondering how the mom took the 3 to the buffalo kill and then bring them back. And I assume during that movement, she left the little guy because, he thought, he was dragging behind. But lucky enough, she came back to the same spot and so reunited everybody. But yesterday, the little guy was calling and calling and calling and calling, trying to come out of the ditch to suckle, but nobody was paying attention. But miraculously, it survived another long, dark, cold night. And this evening, I'm witnessing it drinking, which is such a beautiful ending. I hope it makes it. Now, all it remains is that, for it to drink as much as possible to give it strength so that it can be able to, fight for the titties when the mom comes. But you can tell, look at that. It's really nice to see that mom is eventually, showing some love. Gator, thank you. What a sight. It is an amazing sight. One of those few that come very few times in a lifetime, and I'm actually quite grateful that you are enjoying this. This is Mitty, one of this is Mitty. Rachel, so you ask if the cubs have been introduced to the rest of the pride. If you didn't join us about 2 days ago, yes, they were introduced. There was a big reunion where the 2 males were there. The only one that wasn't there was the grandmother, Kinky, and we think she's gone to give birth somewhere. Remember, this is Mitty, who is Kinky Tail's daughter, and Kinky is already somewhere giving birth. We hope to see her new bundle of joy in the next coming days or weeks. But these ones were born about 4 or 5 weeks, and it's the first time we're actually witnessing them all 4 together. We actually thought there were only originally 3, but we were wrong. Now they're 4. It's really, really cool. Well, thank you for joining me in this short broadcast. I really hope this guy survives. Goodbye and have a good evening. Well, welcome back, everybody. I'm still here. It's just a beautiful scene. And while it unfolds, I'll send you to Steve, who's got the beautiful Hosanna, our famous leopard in Duma.
So after all that, we are in a different car and Hosanna's just got up. Let's see if we can keep our eyes on where he goes. It's going to be tricky. It's pitch black. Just going to put on a light to see if we can find out which direction he went in. He's gone along this path, so I'm just going to get my spotlight out. Yep, I can see him. He's just up ahead. There we go. Now, don't want to put too much light on him. Yep, so he's just walking along the road up ahead. And I wonder where he's going at this time of night. He's most likely looking. Okay, lost him. Let me just have a look. Okay, I think he's going up on the road further up ahead. It's definitely not going to be easy to keep up with the cat in the dark. There we go. Yep, I can see him. He's just right in front of us. Let's see if we can get a view for you. He's stopped next to some shrubs. He was having a little sniff. You see him? He's just walking along the road. Doesn't look like he's going anywhere in a rush. But obviously now is the perfect time for him with his vision and the temperatures. It's ideal. So we're going to keep lots of distance in between us and him. But we will just see exactly where he is headed to. Now, I'm not shining my spotlight directly at him. Now, I've just realised Emma's comms are low. Someone is asking a question about scent marking. I got that much, but we'll just get Emma to repeat that if possible. We literally just switched vehicles. Did he scent mark the tree? Yes, very possibly. So Hosanna is starting to sort of show signs of scent marking. He's just up ahead. I need to make sure I keep my eyes on him. He is not necessarily doing territorial patrols, but leopards do have little glands in their cheeks that produce a sebum. And they do rub that in the bushes that are sort of hanging low and the trees. And this is a form of scent marking, but it's not for territory at this point in his life. So there he is walking off into the distance. We'll try and stay with him as much as we can, but for now, let's go back up to Isaac.
It is family matters here, and claws, tongues, and teeth are doing the work. Some are strengthening their muscles, and some actually biting each other. The cub that had been missing is the one seated up, behind the mom now. That is the one. You can tell it's rather small in comparison to the others. I wish it would come out so we'd see all these other ones we've been seeing. The pale one is among those two. I think it's that one that you can see in the middle. You see how very, very fat or very healthy, if I use a better language that everybody likes, is the one in the middle. It is very essential that they drink as much as possible when they're this young, to make them grow fast as possible so that they can get introduced to the first meat. And looks like a very, very happy family now. The mom is grooming herself, cleaning herself. Sorry, Safari son, you ask if lions get what? Please repeat the question. You ask if they get fireballs from grooming. I think they don't swallow. When they groom, when they lick each other, they don't swallow that. It gets accumulated in the tongue, and then they would use, the same upper side of their jaw to push it out of the tongue and then like throw it away. So they never get hairballs from grooming. It's very much like us. You get something in your tongue. You could use your upper side of your mouth to clear the tongue and throw it away. I think this is the same style or tactic that they use. These guys looks like they're very well fed now, and all is left is to play as much as possible. This is how they strengthen their muscles. This is how they develop their hunting skills and stalking skills. And from the beginning, sometimes you can't tell who is male or females, because males are much more dominant from the word go, and they usually grow faster and become bigger because they bully the females and eat most of the food. I'm so happy that Meaty and Kinky Tail are so used to us, and they let us come this close to them every day, and especially at this time of night. It is pitch dark. I can't see them with my bare eyes. We are using our special infrared camera, and with that is so good that it cannot disturb the animals from what they are doing. They don't notice that we're actually filming them, so it's actually quite great and a good experience to share with you. I'm looking forward to seeing the injured guy come out, but he went behind Mummy and he hasn't come back. I wish I could. I think it's the one being groomed now, which is quite good. Mummy's showing some love eventually. Yesterday she didn't seem to care. Yeah, that is the youngster. That was missing, and she's really looking like she cares. I wonder what she didn't. Why she didn't do that yesterday. I would really love you to have a good look at the little guy once it comes out, if it comes out. But all I can do is just wait like you. I love myself also. I wouldn't go there and tell Mommy, move. The guys need to see, this cub that has been missing. So I'll just wait and see. Yeah, that's it. There it is. There it is. I hope it can come out. Yeah, that's the one in the middle. That's the one. Yeah, that's the one. You see, it's much thinner than the others. And actually, it's falling. It can't stand up. That's the one. But it looks okay. Yeah, is it okay, actually? Does it have a limp? Yes, it does have a limp. Hind. Yeah, it does look very small. It's got a limp on its hind leg. Back left is limping. And I think that was the hindrance yesterday. That's why it couldn't climb up that cliff to come up out here so we could see it. And I think that's what was wrong. Now the mom is headed towards where they were. And I think she's going maybe to tuck them in so that she can go look for some dinner or breakfast. I don't know how they put it this time of evening. For them, I think it's breakfast. So I think she's gonna go tuck them in and then go hunting. They've gone behind the car, and all I can do now is turn around, so I can observe them a little bit more. And while I do that, I can send you to Lauren, who's got Hosanna, and see what Hosanna is doing.
Yes, Hosanna is indeed awake and walking and smelling and sniffing and doing all sorts of things, trying to get a sense of his surroundings around him now that night has indeed fallen. Oh, if he goes off into the vegetation here, we will not be able to follow him. He's right under the bush here. What is he doing? I think he's got a scent of something. I don't want to move the car in case he is smelling and sensing what's going on around him. Yeah, he's going into the vegetation. He's off. He's going after something. Let's just go a little bit forward and see if we can see where he is off to. Okay, I've got a little visual on him here. Just sitting there. Look how camouflage he is, isn't that incredible? Now this is really when the predators come to life and when they are really able to do their sort of ambush surprise stalking. Oh, he's rubbing his face against the leaves there. Okay, so obviously we are with Hosanna this now, but let's go over to Tristan, who does have the drone up and running.
Well, at this stage, Lauren, we have found a lot of impalas. That is probably mostly what we've seen. It looked like we found some kudus as well at some point. You can see there's a few kind of little warm spots there. Once again, some antelopes that are moving around in the bush. You can also see how they kind of disappear as well. If they're not really kind of in the center of the frame, they can actually become quite tricky to spot. And so, you know, things like leopards and even smaller, if we go to things like civets and aardvarks and genets and those kind of things, you know, they are small in comparison to an impala. And so they're difficult to spot. You've got to kind of really sort of hover over some of the hot spots and just kind of check around and make sure for some sort of movement. There you can see a nice kind of termite mound, how they glow. They almost look like golden kind of nuggets coming out of a lava field. It's almost how I kind of think of it. But so far we haven't seen anything that's moving around that's too small. We're trying to fly a lot away from roads at the moment just to try and see if we can find any of these nocturnal animals that are potentially coming out of their respective kind of hiding places during the day and see if we can catch them. Now, of course, in the summer months, things are a lot warmer at this time of the day, so that's why the trees are glowing a little bit. And so as we get cooler and the temperature start to drop this evening and the wind kicks up, so things should start to get a little bit better and we should be able to actually start kind of seeing things. But there's a really epic view of what a termite mound looks like from the air. Seb is doing a fantastic job at the moment, and so if anything is moving on there or around there, like we were talking about earlier with hyenas or aardvark or something like that, we most definitely would be able to actually pick it up and see it, which is very, very cool. What you can also see from these termite mounds is how there's a hot spot always on the top of the mound. And so we often talk about how we basically we'll have mounds that have ventilation and how they use cooling. And so there's the little chimney that comes out, and that hot air is then all being expelled out the sort of top pinnacle of the mound itself. So it's quite a nice example of how heat is being distributed and lost through that mound, particularly on hot sort of summer days like we've been having. Good, Seb. I think let's carry on. Let's see what else we can find. We had a report that there was some dogs potentially coming towards the western side of the property, so we're going to just have a little quick look there. Now, take care, do impalas move a lot at night? Not that much. They move generally just as the sun is setting. You start to see them moving quite quickly, and they'll go from a sort of thicker area into more open clearings. So you'll start to find them moving into either little openings within the block or onto places like quarantine, fire breaks, around water points, because that's generally a lot more open, and that allows them to be able to kind of stay a lot safer. Remember that a lot of the predators are active at this time of the night, and so if they sit and they kind of stay in hidden areas, there's a lot more chance of them being hurt or being killed. And so it's better that they move into those more open clearings. Once they're in the open clearings, they're actually quite static there for most of the night, and then as that sun rises, so they start going back into the thickets once again. But I'm just kind of having a look at the drone as well, just to make sure that we don't miss anything as Seb is flying. Seb, is there something lying down there? Was that... just want to have a little quick look and see. So sometimes you've got to do a little kind of loop around the spot that you see, just to try and see if there's any movement. Now, I do apologize if there's a bit of breakup. Sometimes you just get a tree or something that's a little bit in the way, and that causes a bit of breakup as well. So we're just going to try and get a little bit of height. Now, a lot of you are saying you would love to see an aardvark. We've had an aardvark once, haven't we, Seb? Yes, we have had an aardvark once in winter. We found it was about 3 in the morning that we found one of those. Really cool animal to see sniffing about from the drone itself, and so hopefully we'll be able to get lucky and we'll be able to find them. It'd be so cool to be able to kind of send somebody like Lauren in to an aardvark sighting and see if we can actually get view of them. I'm not sure if we've had many aardvark sightings on SafariLive, certainly none that I can remember in the 2 years that I've been here. In fact, yesterday was 2 years that I've been with SafariLive. So today is 2 years and 1 day, which is quite crazy to think. It's gone a lot faster than I thought it would. That's for sure. Now, what have we got here, Seb? It looks like some more hotspot areas. Thank you, Emma. Emma says happy anniversary. That's very kind of you. Now, there looks like termite mound again, unfortunately. I thought maybe it was something that was moving. You can see how the trees kind of, when they kind of come into focus, they often block mounds, and it almost looks like animals that are moving. But essentially what we're trying to do is just go slowly and scan very, very, very carefully as we go. And if we do see spots, you'll often see us rotate around those spots as we try and figure out exactly what we're getting up to and what we are looking at. And then from there we can give the guys a bit of a better idea of where to head. Now, Seb, can we head a little bit more to the west, if possible? Yeah, please. Right, now while we head a little bit further west, see if we can find any signs of these wild dogs that were reportedly coming our way. Let's send you back up into the Mara and to Isaac and see how the little cub is faring. Hopefully he's going to get a good meal and will be on the road to recovery.
I have left my cubs back there. The mom tucked them in and she left them very safe. She's gone out into the plains, and I think she's gone to look for something for them to feed on. She actually does need something to eat, because not by tomorrow it's going to be 3 days since she last ate. Tomorrow, we'll be down here to see if what they're happening. I'm hoping to find something else on the road on my way home. It is possible that we can see another nocturnal. Who knows what it is? But at the moment, I'm trying to make my way to where I'm actually much more attuned. It's really hard to navigate at night, and especially these areas where we don't come most often. You're just watching a drone in Djuma give you some live pictures. I wish we could do that here, but it is not allowed by the government to have drones in the Mara. Just sometimes imagine if you'd have a drone during the migration period and have it flying and hovering above the wildebeest. Hopefully it's one of those silent ones that won't disrupt the behavior of the wildebeest or annoy everybody. I wish we could do that, but anyway, who am I to say anything? They're not allowed in the Mara. But I'm glad that we are able to share that kind of experience, so you see what the drones can do. Here we only can do game drives. Walking, you have to do walking outside the game reserve. So also it's quite nice that we can give you that kind of experience from Djuma. They have a few specials that they can offer you that we can't. But we are very happy with what we have. I'm not complaining. It's all good. Let me try and use the spotlight. I've got it out of the bad area. Maybe I'll pick up something for you. I don't know what it could be. Are you still there? I'm not hearing from you. Are you listening? Are you watching? What do you think about those cubs? Do you think they will all survive? Because you're not asking me questions. Now I'll ask you. Okay, good. I'm glad you... Yeah. Tracy, have I accidentally driven into Tanzania? Yes, I have. And I had to drive back very, very fast. It was about 50 meters. And when I took my GPS and looked at it like this, it showed me that you're now entering Tanzania. I turned around very, very fast. You can imagine. Yes, I have. But now I'm much better, I'm much experienced. I know where the boundaries are, and I'm a law abider. I try and follow the rules, so I try not to get across. It is very tempting sometimes when you follow a cheetah and you know it's gone across the border and there's nothing you can do. It's very tempting, but you know the border rules, it's quite strict, so sometimes we just have to turn back and say, okay, there's nothing we can do. I see some eyes up there, I don't know what it is, we'll get there. Right now it's pitch dark here. You can see nothing, zero, with your normal eyes. Without the help of my spotlight and my unique camera and my headlights, I would be driving into trees and holes and going around and finding myself going around, you know, till morning. What is that? Looks like a, I don't know what it is. You see some eyes, we'll get there. That looks like a topi. This time of night, the only thing you can use to identify animals is, if you're very good, you can use the eyes, and that comes with experience. I myself cannot identify all the animals at night using the color of the eyes. Yes, it was. I felt proud of myself that I've traveled than most people, but it was very brief. Monique, you say I didn't get stuck. Yes, I don't know if I got your question right. If you could repeat it, please. Yeah. Monique, you say if hopefully I can find somebody at Fox. Yes, it's at night, and there's a possibility. I hope we don't run out of time. But if we do, if you keep joining us, definitely one of my colleagues will be showing you a bat at Fox if you don't see it tonight. This is time of night where they come out because they feed on insects and they have this amazing hearing. That's why they have those big, huge ears for listening to the slightest movement underground, and very strong legs and talons to dig them out and eat them. That's why they're active, because most of insects also here are active at night. Yes, you never know, we might get to find one for you. Anyway, I'm making my way. Yes, over here, I'm trying to find something for you. If I find, I'll definitely share it with you. But in the meantime, let me send you to amazing drone cam, see what you can find for you.
Well, so far, no luck just yet, Isaac. We're still kind of scanning around and haven't managed to find too much. Seb, what's that on the left-hand side there of the frame? Let's have a look quickly. So we have tried to see if we can find the dogs. No sign of roughly where they should be, or where they were kind of mobile towards, and we've checked very carefully. We stopped and kind of did some loops around and obviously changed positions, and still not much luck yet, but you never know, maybe they'll appear. No, it's just more termite mounds that we've got there. We also had some impalas alarm calling somewhere here on quarantine, so we'll have a little quick scan of what's going on here fairly shortly as well. Grumpy old man, cold-blooded animals show up. Unfortunately, most of the cold-blooded animals will be too small to be seen from this drone, unless you're going to get monstrous kind of pythons or something like that. But no, you wouldn't probably see lizards and the likes from where we are. It would be very, very tricky. Now, this is quarantine, so you can see there'll be a lot of animals that will be on quarantine. There's going to be a lot of impalas, which is all those guys in the middle. And this is what we were talking about earlier, is how the prey species will all come in to this area. And we saw Hosanna yesterday was on quarantine and was trying to kind of look out for food in this area, and that's why he comes here at night, is because he knows there's a high concentration of animals on quarantine. And from there, he can kind of stalk along the fringes and hope that these impalas make a mistake. And you can see just how many impalas there actually are in that area. There are a lot of them all over the place, and as we kind of drift to the right, you'll start to see a slightly bigger shape appearing, and so those are in all likelihood is our wildebeest herd that is in amongst the impalas at the moment. So they are moving around kind of with the impalas, and everybody will be trying to seek some sort of sanctity around that area. Now we're going to try and kind of just come back a little bit, Seb, if we can come more towards where Inga's is at the moment. Inga's, because I wonder if it wasn't these impalas that were shouting. So we're going to come back towards where we are a little bit and just see if we can find something. So Patricia, is the drone noisy and does it annoy animals? It does have obviously a buzz to it. I mean, a drone is propelling air, and therefore there is a bit of a kind of sound that comes out of it. But does it annoy the animals? As you can see here, these impalas and wildebeest not really moving much, are they? They're kind of just walking around a little bit, and they're not really too perturbed by our presence at this stage. And so whether or not they're actually kind of worried about it is difficult to say. I mean, I think if you fly too low, for sure, there's actually an elephant. You see the elephants there, which is really cool as well. So there's some ellies that are right kind of near, well, just above where the dam is actually. So that's just on the western side of the dam, and you can see ellies are really easy to find. They're probably the easiest of all things to spot, and gives you an idea of a sense of kind of scale. But this will be in all likelihood all bull elephants that are busy feeding. They've been around for a large portion of the day. Now I'm just trying to hear if I can hear some alarm calls again. It doesn't sound like it, but essentially the animals, for the most part, you can see those ellies, they are still feeding. They're using their trunks to grab food. You can actually see it, and so the drone itself isn't really worrying them too much. I think if you fly too low, then certainly, and we try our very, very best to try and keep the drone at a height where the animals are not reacting. If they seem like they're feeding and they're relaxed, then we're perfectly fine. If we drop too low and they seem to kind of move, then we immediately will pull back away from them. So that's all about kind of just trying to sort of figure out what is a safe kind of height for them to feel comfortable. Ivy, no. So the drone is only allowed to fly on Djuma itself. We cannot use it on Chitwa or on Torchwood. The reason also why we don't use it around Chitwa is because obviously there is a noise to it, and people stay in that lodge, and we don't want to fly anywhere near lodges where, you know, there's a thermal camera. So it's a bit of an invasion of privacy. So even here on Djuma, we try and avoid the lodges at all cost. We have a sort of no-fly zone around the lodge, and we kind of keep it to just the sort of southern and western sides of quarantine and try and watch from there. But how cool is that? You can actually see this ellie closest to the end of the frame. If you look on its back there, you'll notice that there's two very dark black lines. Now, in all likelihood, those black lines that you're seeing there are bits of mud where she's had a bit of a mud bath, or he, should I say, has maybe had a bit of a mud bath, and the actual kind of mud is caked on top, and so the heat is not transferring through that mud, and that's why you're getting those black lines that are actually forming. But you can see that ellie is still feeding ever so comfortably, and it actually looks like maybe a female and a youngster, unless it's a very small bull accompanying some of the bigger guys, but that looks like potentially a female and her calf. But how cool is that? Isn't that amazing? You can actually even see the back side of the ears is much cooler than the front side, and so it's pretty insane to kind of see what goes on. But that was the direction that we basically saw or heard the alarm calls for impala. So I wonder if there's not something else that's kind of moving around in that area. Right, Seb, I think let's come back towards us a little bit further. The ellies are absolutely wonderful, and so we're going to try and see what else we can find. That's where Seb and I stay. So that hot building that you see there is called Inga's, and that's where Seb, myself, and Jamie, we all live in that area over there. Now, let's see, Seb. I don't see anything moving around. The impalas there look fairly kind of relaxed. They're all sort of spread out at the moment and kind of facing in different directions, but they're not looking. If you often find when they look for a predator, they'll all kind of face in one direction and kind of have a look and see what's going on. So we're going to try and see what we can find here and try and give Lauren a bit of a better sense of direction as to where we want her to check. And talking about Lauren, let's send you across to her and see where she is at the moment.
Well, we did lose Hosanna into the thicket. He just went off into the middle of nowhere. It looked like he was about to stalk and hunt something, but unfortunately we were just not able to keep up. So we are driving around, keeping our eye on what we see in front of us. And of course, Tristan does have that drone up. So if he does spot anything, we will be the chase vehicle that does go right into the sighting. Now, it's not easy seeing in dark, I assure you that. And I was hoping that we could have found Mr. Tingana tonight, because he obviously did evade us. Now, we have to be really careful around the scrub hares at night, because they're everywhere. You always see the little scrub hares. Oh, Craig's going to try and see if he can get it for you. There we go. Adorable. And they just bounce out onto the road, and they seem to be quite momentarily startled by the lights, of course, but they tend to have the habit to keep jumping in the light in a zigzag pattern. So that's why when you see a scrub hare, which is regular, you just have to turn your lights off and make sure it moves out of the way. And it tends to, as soon as you turn your lights off, it tends to just jump back into the thicket. So they're a bit silly in that way, and that they just jump right into your lights, and that's the last thing you want. So I can put my lights back on again until we see our next scrub hare. I can't imagine it's easy being a tiny little scrub hare at night time with the likes of Hosanna and Tingana around. It would be the perfect snack for them. Not enough to subside them through, but it definitely would be a lovely little snack for the night. So let's go back over to Tristan and see that one last time with the drone.
Indeed. I mean, it sounds like it was an epic afternoon for Lauren and for James, and lots happening, so that's good news. And we're still kind of fiddling about near these impalas. I'm pretty sure there's something lurking. There was lots and lots of alarm calls, and so we're just kind of doing a few loops around, just trying to see if under any of the trees or up against a mound somewhere is maybe a tail that sticks out. It's quite funny. Sometimes when you spot these cats on the drone, all you see is a little tail that sticks out of a mound, and you can just make out that there is a kind of cat sitting there. It's quite funny to actually see. Sometimes their tail in winter is actually quite dark because it's so cold, but in summer now the tails generally is this little white stripe that sticks out from where the mound is, and that's how you can kind of spot them. But the ellies themselves, they're still milling about, having a really good feed, and it's actually really incredible when you kind of over quarantine and you see how many animals are actually out here during the course of the night. You always kind of think when you drive at night that there's not really much happening, but you can see from this is that there's a serious amount of animals that make their way to these open clearings at night, and it's why predators will actively hunt in these areas. So things like leopards and lions and even wild dogs will make use of these open clearings during the course of the night in order to try and go after the various kind of animals that spend their nights here. But isn't it just an incredible kind of view to be able to see a lot of the animals that we wouldn't really typically be able to see at night, and it allows us to be able to find certain things that, like I say, we wouldn't be able to see with a car. And hopefully the drone's going to be successful enough for us to find all the smaller kind of nocturnal creatures as we go forward. We'll be doing a lot more of these kind of sessions, particularly early in the mornings when it's still a lot cooler. It certainly helps. Good. Well, our ellies are kind of mobile and moving up towards quarantine, probably to go and feast on some marulas. And, well, we're going to also start being mobile back towards home. It is that time of the day where it's time for us to head back for dinner. And I hope that you had a wonderful afternoon with James and Lauren and Isaac, and with Seb and I later in the afternoon. And I hope that wherever you are, you have a wonderful morning or afternoon. So from all of us, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll see you bright and early tomorrow for our sunrise safari.